Hey guys, today's video we're going to be processing a deer hide and trying to make it into some deer leather. I think I've got 3 hides here, and all we're going to be doing today is fleshing them. These things have been salted for a little bit. I didn't have time to flesh these out right after the kill, but I do have several others that have already been fleshed out. But let's get right on into it. Just want to try to get all of this flesh off. Want it to be pretty much white. But if we don't get it all off here, we can get it later on, because we do have to shave it one more time after it goes through a solution. And I am by no means an expert at this. Only my second year doing this, so I might have 5 or 6 hides processed. I've tried a pressure washer, but I don't think the pressure washer I have is powerful enough. But if you have a good one, it'd probably work pretty well. Good little chunk ripping off right there. I am wearing gloves because this fat is really sticky. I'm also wearing an apron. This is a Freedom brand apron. Not sponsored, but I feel like I need to say that. It just feels right. Big old chunk of fat coming off right there. Hopefully here within a few weeks we'll be starting to trap. Hopefully we'll get some good stuff this year. I've had pretty good luck with raccoons and a fox last year. But that's about it. Trying to go for the coyotes, but they don't seem. I must not be too good at trapping, but it is what it is. Like this right here. Let me tilt down a little bit more. Like this piece right here. That needs to come off at some point, but we're going to try our best here to get it off now. If not, we could probably just sand it off later after it's tanned. That worked through a hole right there, which is like quite the opposite of what you're trying to do. You want to get it just thin enough to, or you just barely want to take off that layer. Big old chunk of fat that I missed off the skin and pole. Let's reset that up here. I like to try to work it in kind of rows. And some of this fat, it's large enough just to grab onto and pull right off. I mean, I just pulled off a piece of fat that big. Something will eat it. Glove didn't slice through, but we'll get over it. piece of fat right here being stubborn. That piece came right off. It might have got a little deep there. Actually, we might have just been cutting hairs off the back side of it there. Now we did get a little thin. Let's move it over this way. The edges are always going to be the hardest part. Oh, good God. That about just fell over. Right there, I think that might be the bullet hole. I'm not exactly sure. They usually come off a little bit better when they're fresh. But this is honestly going a little bit better than I was expecting it to, considering how long they've just been salted. And we're just trying to make some leather out of this, so I'm not concerned about cutting any of the hairs off, because we're going to remove them in a future step, which I think might be the next step after this. I'll have to go back and look at my reference book. That would have been no bueno. This is my first video like this, so please forgive me. I'm trying to figure out what's best. Try to scrape that out as much as we can. I'm going to start working on this next section. Really thin section there. Or is that a hunk of meat? I think it was just a hunk of meat. Stretch that out. I much prefer this tool right here over the full bar. I think it's a little bit easier to get it a little bit cleaner without ripping holes in it, but I don't really know. I guess it's up to personal preference. And we did rip a hole in it right here, if you can see that, right there. But you'll be fine. We'll just use it as a hole to tie it up to stretch it out. Oh, that's fairly clean down there. It's not great, but it's not horrible. Good little slab right there coming off. It's practically jerky at this point. Would not recommend eating it though. Probably would be a good way to die. getting a little, like this section right here, it must not have had much salt on it, so it kind of rotted a little bit. But I think we'll be fine if we can scrape it away. Yeah, it's getting pretty hard to cut through right there. Worst come to worst, we'll just cut that section of the hide off, and we'll just salvage what we can. There we go. And that is how we do it. Look at that chunk. We'll just throw it off behind us. Give a coyote something to eat. Or at least it'll give something to eat. Maybe a colony of ants or something. Half my blade's covered in salt at this point. Scratch it off though. That's a pretty good section of this hide already done. But let's trim that up real quick. We'll buzz that. A lot of this big fat chunks, after you let them dry, they'll just rip right off, which helps a little bit, but you still got to go through and take a flushing tool to it. Okay. Too much fat done built up on the blade here. Easy solution is just to grab onto it and throw it off. Trying to keep the board from falling. Ooh, ripped another hole in that one right there. Unfortunate. It's been a while since I poked a hole in them. I guess it's where they're dry. Well, like I said, it doesn't really matter. We'll be able to work around it when I go to make stuff out of it. I think I'd like to make some like bags of sorts. I think it'd be quite nice. Have something that, you know, from start to finish. a dry section. Sorry about that. I had to lean over quite a way. Let's shorten this up just a hair so we can get to this end a little bit better. Some sandpaper probably going to be this thing's best friend at this point. Stretch that out. Mind you, these things will rehydrate once we get them into their respective solution. I do not brain tan at the moment because I do not have the knowledge of it. So I prefer, at the moment, I'm doing the way that just gives you chemical burns slightly if you do it wrong and without gloves. But we're going to try to avoid that when we get to it. Let's go ahead and rotate on around. Well, let's actually just reset here. That's a nasty looking chunk. It's all about trying to get it in the right place for it to work best for you, which can be kind of difficult to find sometimes, but nope, that's definitely not it. Let's work off this edge here. Oh yeah, that was a good peel. Yeah, I still got a little meat back here, but we'll get it eventually. That piece not wanting to come off. There we go. Got a decent chunk off there. Let's get this a little bit closer to us. There's another hole right there in the edge there, but it'll be fine. This must be where it was actually shot at. Let's grab a knife, which luckily I have prepared right here on the ground. And we're going to kind of open this up a little bit. It'd probably help if it was sharp, but you know. And this will just make it a little bit easier. And truth be told, we'll probably just cut off that whole section, because it's not going to have any value to it. I mean, it would have just made something good to tie something off to. But that's about it. So the knife on the ground. Pick up our little processor here. Picked up a bunch of hair from the ground right there. This thing just decided it wanted to quit working. There we go. I did a little bit of something. We're getting pretty close on this one to being good enough for now. Oh, good lord. That kind of hurt. They decided to hang up on the inside of it there. I mean, that's not great, but it's not horrible either. And we'll just pull that off. Oh, there's a big old chunk of fat there that I missed. Actually, a whole bunch of we missed right in here. Ain't bad. Just a little bit around this lip here, and we're going to call this one good. These edges are really difficult to get a lot of times. So we'll just slowly work around the edge and just kind of work them, like right here. There's so many holes right here, let's just grab a knife. And we'll just cut that section right out. Just like that. We'll probably end up trimming that outside edge anyway. Yeah, I'd say with 100% confidence it would be better to do this when they're still fresh over how I've had to do these. Yeah, but I think that's pretty good to start with. Let's take a look at her. Yeah, nothing really jumping out to me. I mean, there's a little bit over here on this corner here, but we'll take it out real quick. Just like that. That'll be good to go for now. Let's get this one, I guess, salted back again. That way so we can do all these in one batch. And then I'm going to work on the other two, and I'll be back with you. Alright, I decided just to go ahead and show you this other piece of this. Now, where in the Sam Hill did I set down my... There it is. Might as well try to go ahead and show you this again. Too much salt. This is a very salt intensive process. I tend to go to my local feed store and get like 150 pounds at a time. I go through that in about a year, but I don't do this very much either, so. I probably should consider another pressure washer that's a little bit better than the one I currently have, and maybe get one of those oscillating blades, or not blades, nozzles for it to kind of spin around in a 360 degrees. $500 views and I might just do that. This one's mighty rotten down there at the end, but it's just a meat rot. Hide's fine, I think. And if not, whatever, we'll kill any bacteria that's still on it. This is the last one that we have as well to flush out at the moment. And mind you, this is just a hobby of mine. Not great at it, just as a reminder. Ooh, that is molded. I believe. Definitely not the correct color. It's really not that bad though yet. I have seen worse, that is for certain. Also added another cinder block back here to hold my thing up in place. Good Lord. Tough old bird. This one is off of a buck. So his fat might be stuck to him a little bit better. Because if you don't know, those will tend to be a whole lot softer. I guess that's a word for it. Any buck will be. Or bucks will be a whole lot more tough. Alright, there ain't wanting to come off. We'll consider working on that here in a second. And this is just a secondary process. So it's not really a waste if anything does go bad. Because primary use is obviously meat. And this is just a secondary hobby I've picked up. What a dumb hobby it is, but it's a good way to spend some time outdoors. Especially when you don't have anything else going on for you. It's like, what am I going to do? Sit in the house, watch football? No. Good Lord. Let's grab the knife and see if we can't do some trimming on that. Be careful not to cut ourselves. This is definitely the worst looking part of this. Found a hole in it. I am fortunate enough to be in a situation where I can get multiple people's hides off the deer. Good Lord. That explains a lot. That was not the piece that was supposed to come off. But you'll have that on the big jobs. I'm tempted to cut this section out. Like just from like that. Because that's in right rough shape. Let's go ahead and do that with our very, very dull knife. Definitely precision cuts going on here. And since we scored that, in theory it ought to about pull through. It didn't want to, but we got that done anyway. Let's grab up our little fleshing device. Definitely a little bit easier. Let's bring this up towards us just a hair. I want to try to do about half and half. In an ideal situation. Which there's not always ideal situations, but we can make do. If you're still watching, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Definitely won't be daily uploads because it's kind of hard to daily upload this. But I'll try to be weekly, but we'll see. Obviously, during summer months, I'm going to slow down a whole lot. But we'll see what else we can get into. Might do some fishing or something like that. But I guess we'll see. Yeah, that's kind of nasty. Like that section right there came clean really good. I don't know how this one's going to turn out. Like this section right here, it also seems, that's because that's the tail. Apparently I missed that when I was skinning it too. Let's go ahead and butcher that out of it. I mean, could I make some interesting things out of a tail? Yeah. Am I going to? No. Yoink that on down through the bushes. I think I hit a tree 10 inches behind me, but you'll have that. Ugh. Once again, not a professional cameraman, but give you the best that I can. Just going off of a harness at the moment, but we'll see how the video turns out. That's not coming off. That's fine though. Little nasty corner edge piece to this. Good enough. Once again, that'll probably be trimmed off eventually. Oh great. Part of my holder's done fell over. We got a pretty decent chunk of this one already done in 13 or 14 minutes, something like that. Really, another rough section right over here. Not a whole lot can do about it though. It's just not coming clean. That might be a bacteria right in there. You can kind of see it's a different color. It's no telling what I'm exposing myself to. That's why we're on gloves. But then again, that could just be like the bloodshot effect. And it might have just soaked out of it. I doubt it, but... Oh great, more wood fell down, but... Let's slide this back up here to us. Getting a little hard to reach. Toss that off. Camera was a little too far down there because I was having to reach really far. Pretty good chunk off there. Oh, this section looks kind of nasty along in here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a really blue spot. Which this does have some blue spots in it. Hopefully that'll come out when we bleach it. If not, it'll just be a waste of time on these ones. This isn't a particularly long process, but, well, it's a long process. It just doesn't take that many hours after this. This is definitely the most labor-intensive part. The rest of it, pretty much just getting water and a bunch of solutions mixed together. Simple to do. down here at my shed here. But gotta carry it for a ways. It would be fine. Oh goodness. What a chunk of flesh. Really good chunk here. What in the world? Oh, that's a pellet of poop. Got stuck to the hide. Not a great showing of how to properly care for the hide after it's off, but things happen. This whole process has been a little bit wanky since I didn't have the time to start with. But we're just gonna have to make it work. That's not really wanting to come clean. So we'll just move over this way. We'll just scrape off as much as we can. The rest can come off with sandpaper later. Just cut a hole in it. Made the hole a little bit worse. We're getting pretty close on this one. I mean, got a little bit around the edges still. And that section of it. But we've been working around in a circle pretty good. But they go so much simpler when they're fresh. This is a horrible example. Don't make near as many holes in them when you're doing them fresh off the deer. Once again, that section's not wanting to come clean. So we'll just skip over it. That's not coming clean very well at all. We're leaving a lot to sand off, but don't particularly have the time to really concern ourselves with it at the moment. That was a deep slice. That section's actually somewhat clear. It's just dirty. But we'll try to skin it here in a second. That's practically char. Eh, it did something. Not a lot, but it did something. Hopefully soaking it will kind of release those places to the point of where I can actually fix it. If not, we'll just have to cut it off and say heck with it. Let's get this back closer to us. Let's just take a knife and clean off that section. We're trying to get I don't know, it's pain to get that to cut. I mean, that's going to be a little bit interesting later on. But we'll make it work somehow. Even if we do end up just lopping off this section right here. Maybe that too. I don't really know. It's kind of a nasty section there. But let's see how we're looking. Definitely top left right there. Could use a little bit more. But that's about it. Nice big hide here for a deer. Done fell off my little post here.
But I believe that's about all the time I'm going to have for today. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.